Hey everybody, it's Gail, and today I have a cardigan from the 1930s to show you. So this is a pretty standard cardigan in terms of build. I'll show you all the pieces in a minute. The big difference between what the pattern says and what I did was that the pattern is for a 34-inch bust, which I have a 37-inch bust. And so I went up from the 2-ply fingering that is suggested to a DK weight yarn. Specifically, let me grab it here. This right here. This is Silk City Fibers. And I believe this is a bamboo cotton blend. Yeah, this is the bamboo cotton. You just can buy it by the cone on their website. I got my first skein of it at Fiber Rhythm in Portland, Oregon, and then I actually had to order this one from the website itself because they ran a sale and a bunch of their cone yarns were just gone, including this one. And then we moved across the country. I am filming this in my new dining room. Exciting. So I'm going to flip the camera, show you all the pieces, and then I have to start putting the damn thing together. I have a few notes on the pattern. One missing notation and just a couple of other things that sort of confused me while I was working on them. Nothing too scary. So let's flip the camera. Alright. And we'll go, there we go. All right, so here is all of the sweater pieces. So you make the back first, and this detailing work here, all these raised stitches, these are multiple single crochets worked in the same stitch. So you pull up a loop, you pull through one loop, you pull up a loop, you pull through a couple loops, etc. And you do that across. And you do that as specified in the pattern. A set of stitch markers is going to do you really well, because what happens is you make one row of them, and then the next row you want to make in between the previous row all the way up, whether you're increasing or decreasing or just working it. So stitch markers were invaluable for me for making sure I was going in the right space. Also, putting a stitch marker on the stitch next to the little bobbles help make sure that I was not skipping a stitch after the bobbles, because it was half covered by the stitch itself. So that's really my big tip for construction. It is fairly simple. So you get the back, we've got the two sides, and I thought these were going to need to be mirrored because that's not uncommon when you're working a left and a right front, but not in this case. It goes together perfectly. The left front instructions kind of make it sound like you're about to mirror, but then you don't. It's written a little interestingly. We've got the sleeves here, and I am actually a little concerned about my biceps versus how large this sleeve is, but that is not a new thing with me in vintage patterns. Like, there's definitely room here, but I got some guns. And this one has worked really easily. You just decrease and decrease, and then you're just working straight up. Now, working in DK yarn, I had to adjust a little bit to get the right number of stitches at the top of the sleeve before the decreases, so that it would be the correct size and the correct fit on the armholes. So if you are going to size up a yarn, always make sure that you're measuring along, because this is only supposed to be 16.5 inches. And so the last few rows on the side here, I had to work increases every other row as opposed to what it recommended in the pattern in order to get to the 63 stitches I needed to have the right amount of stitches before starting the decreases. And then we have, this is the collar. It's just worked in a regular rectangle. It'll get attached at the top. And then we have the waistband, which is single crochet, and the hardest part of it for me, because I was nearly done and I didn't want to work a whole bunch of single crochet, but here we are. And then this stitch marker, hold on a second. There we go. That stitch marker and that stitch marker are just marking where it measures out to line up with the bottom of the fronts, so that I know when I am sewing it together that I'm not going to end up with like a tight spot here because I sewed a few too many that way or that way. So that is what that's doing. So I'm going to go put this whole thing together and then come back and talk about buttons and some pattern notes. I'm in the wrong glasses. Give me a moment. Better. I try not to film in my computer glasses because of the reflection, but I know that I do sometimes, and I'm really working on not doing it anymore, just so you can actually see my eyes when I talk to you. Anyway, the sweater, here it is. Came out really nice. Very, very proud. Check out, hold on. Here we go. I am so proud of this, like, the seaming to the sides and the back. Everything lines up. Everything's these beautiful little, like, perfect, happy little trees. Look like happy little trees. I would put it on to show it off, but I can't actually fit it over my biceps. I have these good Irish peasant arms that I got from the amount of Irish in my family. I am built like exactly like my Kansas grandmother, like almost exactly, and those peasant arms are part of it. Yeah, so it actually, before I put the sleeves on, I tried it on just to be sure, because I hadn't tried it on yet because it was in all those pieces, and the armholes fit, but the armholes do get pulled in a bit when you pull it up. So let me see how far we can go. Alright, this is actually an improvement, believe it or not. It was like down here, and then what I did to try and fix it is I came in and I made a little dart basically, where I worked 20 single crochet on one side and then the other, and I worked 5 rows each, and then I sewed it into the seam because I was like, there we go, that should work. And it improved it, but it didn't get it all the way up there, and I just was so frustrated, you guys, because like I started this project before the move, and I was using yarn that was left over from a different project, and I knew I would need more yarn to finish it. Like I knew I would need to order more, and I was so thrilled when the yarn showed up, because like there is no hint that a dye lot change might have happened. Like, it's Silk City Fibers clearly has this on lock. Fantastic news, love it. But there was this big delay in being able to finish it because I had to pack it up to move it across the fucking country. And so I was really excited to sit down and get to finish it and finally sew it together and have it. And then the arms didn't fit. And then my effort to fix the arms, while yes, that is what I need to do, should I need to do it again, I was in no fucking mood to like keep working on it until it was enough. Luckily, I have a friend who has a child who said, I love the color, I love how it looks, I will totally wear it. So this has a home, which is good, because otherwise I might not have finished sewing it together, quite frankly, because I was a little pissed off. So it does have a home. I'm very excited about it. And so after I failed at getting the sleeves to go over my Irish peasant biceps, I added the collar. And always remember, when you're working with a collar, especially because this is supposed to flop down, and then like this becomes the other point in the collar, when it's supposed to flop down like that, you want to do your seam inside out, basically. So this is just attached with slip stitch. And so this matters with like a slip stitch seam, which is what the arms are, and the slip stitch seam is what gets you that really distinct line of attachment. The seams on the back and the sides, I did a mattress stitch, which is a sewing stitch, which is why it's flat and kind of invisible. Honestly, I can't even find it right now. But that's really important because even though it seems like this should be the side that you work it so that it looks like this, you actually need to do it backwards so that it looks correct when you're wearing it. I've made this mistake many, many times. And now there was a waistband that was supposed to go on, and I didn't like it. It's fine. And I know it's meant to give it sort of more of a tailored look, like really bring it together. But like, if you don't use it, look at that. You get to, like, it starts with the decoration on the first row. You don't make it till the fourth row, but the way that it's made, you make it on the first row to make it. And I just love that so much. I love that kind of detail where it's like this little detail goes all the way down or all the way up. And of course, in this case, it's not supposed to go all the way up. I mean, it does up here, but like on the back, you know, you can really see how lovely it looks. So I didn't add the waistband, and now I have another partial green cone I have to do something with. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make anything. I'm gonna choose something that should not require another cone of green because I don't need any more green stuff. I mean, I do, but not right now. So that is the sweater. There's a couple of notes I want to give you. First of all, when you look at the pattern, it says you need 9 3 1/4 inch buttons, and that is for the original size, which is a 2-ply fingering. This was a DK weight. I think that button measurement is incorrect, because when I had the waistband done, you do 2 buttonholes on the waistband. I measured those because otherwise you use the space around the pattern stitches as buttonholes, and I was like, those don't look big enough. Like the holes that you can, like what you can get through there. And so I measured, and in DK weight, the buttonholes are 1/2 inch. Like maybe you can get to 5/8. And so I think it's supposed to say 1/4 inch. I have no proof of that, unfortunately, but what you want to do if you're going to make this, whatever yarn you use to make it, just measure the waistband buttonhole before you buy buttons. You know, make the waistband first so you know, and you can get the buttons on their way while you're working on the rest of it. The other thing, the decreases confused me a little bit at first because I just haven't seen them written that way. And so what you're doing, rather than slipping over one side and then skipping the others on the other side, which is pretty standard for like when you make sleeves or you do the sleeve shaping, is you are not finishing the final 5 stitches of every row on either side. So on the first row, you go to the last 5, you stop and leave 5 unworked, and then you turn and you work back and you leave 5 unworked and you stair step it. It was a little bit different. It took me a moment to get it, so I just want to make you aware of that. And then the one other piece is that there is a repeat that is supposed to be marked with double asterisks from where you start and where you finish. Very standard. They forgot to put in the start asterisks. So you do row 64, you do the repeats there, then it gives you the row 70 instructions, and then it says repeat from the first set of asterisks, which they don't have marked because they're not there. It is row 64. That's what I used. Everything shaped out fine. Everything measured out like it was supposed to. So that's supposed to be on row 64. That and the button information are on the vintage pattern errata down in the basement. So you can get that if you need it. You don't have to remember it from this video. And other than that, you know, I may sit down and make this again using like a bulky weight or something. Because when you look at the pattern photo, it is meant to be a bit of a slouchy sweater. And I think I could follow the same instructions in bulky weight without having to do any math, and it would actually fit really nicely. Yeah, I think that is the beginning and end of it. I am happy with how it turned out, even if it doesn't fit me. I think it would be a great beginner sweater pattern for somebody because it's all single crochet, and then these are just like single crochet puff stitch. Oh, British terms, by the way, just to give you a heads up there. So it says double crochet, but it's single crochet for Americans. Yeah, but I'm all right with it. I do love the screen. I have it in a top that I made, so I still have the screen and something. I'm gonna go and work on something else. And as always, if you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all of that fun stuff. And I will see you when I see you.